Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball today. That's right. Chris Rose is here. We're hitting all the big topics. Teams we're into, players we're into, and no Trevor Plouffe. Let's talk ball. None. None. Cooper Pratt. Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball, presented by Fanatics Markets, where fans trade on sports. Fanatics Markets available now on the app stores. I am Jake Storielli. Rob Scirocco is producing. Dalt's getting the info together. And Chris Rose is our handsome Californian joining us today on Talkin Baseball. Rosie, how are you?
No. You definitely go down in looks. Definitely go down in net worth. All these things. Intelligence might be a coin flip. Sense of humor, probably both tied for last in the office. So, I apologize. If you were looking for something special today on our YouTube channel and that handsome dude, you got the guy in the back nine.
There are a couple significant others that catch the background of the show that are like, oh, I don't know. What's today's episode? No, Chris Rose. Net worth, depending some of your early investments.
Right.
Because Trev's got some new friends that I feel like he's now in that other world of investing.
He's playing at a different level when it comes to all that stuff.
So he might have you there. And I don't know. Sometimes those Chris Rose Best Damn Sports Show picks come out. It's like, okay, Chris Rose on TV early. Yeah.
That's always the funny stuff. People will send me a picture from 2002 and say, my God, have you aged? I'm like, wow, really? That happens over 24 years?
Yeah.
Didn't know.
It could. If we did that with some of the people in our office, some of them wouldn't be born yet. Some of the players we're probably going to talk today. I saw the year Sal Stewart was born, and I was a little shook by that one today. We're going to aim. I don't want to say aim wide today, but Chris, you and I don't get to talk a lot of ball in front of the mics. I mean, we both share Trev. We have a nice, you get him on the weekends.
Custody.
Yes.
Yep.
Every other weekend. And we're both grinders that, and you have Trev knowledge-wise. He didn't even go to college, and you're a proud Miami of Ohio.
Laughing at the Scirocco shriek.
The Scirocco giggle.
He could have gone to college. I wouldn't have gone either if somebody had made me the 20th pick in the 2004 draft. I'll be honest with you. Wouldn't have done it.
But if he had gone to Stanford, he wouldn't be talking about a men's college basketball team that won an NCAA tournament game this year and was undefeated for most of the year. Your Miami of Ohio Redhawks, baby.
We're just Miami University.
Okay, I'm sorry.
People will go, wait, Miami, then down in Florida. And I always tell them that Miami was a university before Florida was a state, established 1809, and one of 5 schools ever, by the way, to have both the president of the United States and a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Dalton answered that as soon as you started that speech, and it was powerful, and I'm happy for you. And, we'll see if we mix in any other sports. I think it's going to be heavy baseball. I'm happy with my UConn Huskies. Dad attended there, so I'm allowed to support in the college.
Absolutely, you are.
Sports ranks. I have a very fond memory. We filmed one of our blitzball battles. Chris Rose at dinner watching his Redhawks, because you just love ball, and that's how I know. I'm excited to talk to you about these first week of games, Chris Rose, because another secret I leak out on, I'd say 2 episodes a year, we'll talk about covering all these games. And I remember as Talkin Baseball was taking off, I asked you, I was like, Rosie, are there any tricks or secrets to keeping up with the baseball season? It's a lot. And you were like, I watch a lot of games. That's the secret. That's the secret.
True. It pays to not have much else in your life, particularly when your kids are grown and stuff. I've done all that stuff. Last night, now Josh still lives at home because he works in Los Angeles, and we didn't want to subsidize an extra place. Once again, there's a financial tip.
Nice.
If you have an extra room in your house and one of your kids is going to live in the city in which you live as well, give them a room.
Nice.
Give them the room. But we just we watched ball all night long. Kind of tuned in, obviously, to our Guardians who are out here on the West Coast taking on the Dodgers, and Shohei Ohtani, who was back on the mound for the first time in 2026. So, yeah, I mean, you just watch as much as you can.
Little scoreless streak going for Shohei just to get it started again. Well, let's start. Let's start with it's the big topic of the year so far because it's completely changed the sport. If there was a segment on this on Best Damn in 02, you guys probably would have laughed it off the stage. Tom Arnold would have had a good one-liner. We would have moved on because robot umps.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here, Rosie. Obviously, on baseball today, on Talking Baseball, everywhere. It's the topic because it's such a big change in the sport. I guess I want to hear your general. Where are you at with it? Are you ready for more? Like Jomboy's saying, Jomboy's ready to go full ABS. And I kind of, my contrarian was fighting it, and now I'm like, hey, if we're just getting calls right and everyone agrees, maybe that's right. So where are you at with ABS?
I love it.
Okay.
I love the excitement of it. I've talked to a bunch of players. I've talked to a couple of managers. I went and saw the Guardians the other day and asked Stephen Vogt. I think we're actually going to put out a short about it and how they deal with it strategically. By the way, every team in the world can tell me they've had a bunch of meetings on how to deploy this.
Yeah.
That's a lie. That is a lie.
Oh, okay.
If you're watching the games, you've got guys that are doing the total wrong counts, like an 0-0 pitch. Why would you ever tap your head on an 0-0 pitch?
I'll tell you. That could
What's
change an at bat. 1-0 to 0-1. I'll tap on 0-0. Okay.
No way. 1-1. Something to make it. I would even go like I could be persuaded into 2-1.
Okay.
But 1-1 is the count that changes an entire at bat, right? They've proven it statistically that the difference between 1 and 2 and 2 and 1 is enormous. But they also are just it's carte blanche. I don't care who you're a fan of. You know the people who know the strike zone and who don't on your team. And then situational baseball. We don't really have it a ton in this sport. We certainly haven't thought about it a lot, right? We talk in the NFL circles about situational football and playing well and putting together a 4-minute drive at the end of a game if you can, and guys falling down in bounds when they could have gotten a few extra yards, but it's more important to keep the clock running. Well, if you have one challenge left and you're leading the game 5-4 in the top of the ninth, and you know that your closer is about to come on in a save situation, why would you ever tap your head at the plate? Ever. You want to leave that for your catcher and pitcher to utilize in the bottom of the ninth. And I've seen it several times where guys they don't even think about it. So for me, the fun part is being able to yell at the TV because people don't understand when to use the challenge and how to effectively use the challenge. That's the side of it past the umpires, which I know we'll get to. But for me, I would be okay with, I think, eventually expanding this thing. I think we really got to see how it's working out. And I wouldn't mind changing it during the season. NFL changes rules all the time during the season. Like, do we need to have 16 meetings about it and get approved by this and that in order to change the rule? No, let's just go for it.
So, okay, Chris Rose, because, Dalt has some great stats for us on the sheet. Right now, the 2-2 count has been the most challenged count with 27. Number 2 is 0-0.
Don't get it.
So I guess here's my thing. And a couple other stats, because this isn't necessarily my strength, but it's good for the people to know. Catchers are getting them right at a 64% clip, essentially. Hitters at a 42. Pitchers, I mean, there's still just been very few pitcher ones. My guy Max Fried got one last night. Great start, by the way. Can people talk about Max Fried more than I do? Because he's just been the best starting pitcher ERA-wise since 2020, if you like that. So
yeah, I mean, Plouffe, actually, we said give us a dark horse to win the Cy Young. And he's not even really a dark horse because he
shouldn't be. That's the problem.
Right.
Like, if he, and now I'm the problem because I was going to say if he ever sneaks one out, sneaking out a Cy Young award, it would very much change the perspective on Max Fried, who's just had an amazing career up into this point. wearing an Andy Pettitte shirt after the game. Okay, that was a little Yankees. That was a little Yankees stuff leaking out.
Well, maybe he was a Astros Andy Pettitte fan.
Hey, now, easy with that. Easy with that.
He was there for 3 years. It's not like he pitched 6 games for him.
He's a proud Texan, and I love that for Andy, but he's a Yankee. I guess for me, and this is probably too laissez-faire, but I guess would you have a clause for your team, Chris Rose, of like egregious misses? Because we had the CB Bucknor night. I watch more Yankees baseball, although they were on the West Coast, so I had the whole 7 to 940 MLB big inning rolling that I was watching a lot of ball. Trent Grisham is 2 for 2 this year because he's had 2 high curveballs that have crossed at his shoulders that got called for strikes. If you're a manager, kind of where you started was, hey, we have to be situational about this. Would you have a clause for an egregious missed call or no?
What I would do is I would divide the locker room and move guys' lockers around. So if your locker is on this side when you walk in, you are allowed to challenge. If your locker has been placed on this side, you're not allowed to tap your head. You're out.
Yeah.
By the way, Rob, this video that we're showing right now is making me ill.
A little
please
cam.
Not use that cam ever again. That was gross.
A little cam.
For those of you that were audio only, we were showing cam while trying to figure out where the pitch was up in San Francisco, and that made my stomach.
Little drama meme.
Yeah. So. Look, they're trying to give their guys freedom, but they know which guys are morons when they get into a batter's box.
Right.
We know it from watching our team, and they know it from watching their players the way that they do. Like the last 4 or 5 challenges for my Guardians have been Angel Martinez.
Sure.
Gabriel Arias. Brian Rocchio, Bo Naylor. Like, you don't hear me saying Stephen Kwan, a guy who's been screwed out of more balls from lefty on lefty than anybody in baseball the last couple of years. Like, no, he's not the one that's hitting his head. It's all these guys that don't know the strike zone, and they keep losing it, and the ball ends up right in the center of the square. I'm like, it's not even clipping edges here at this point. But it makes it all fun. It's another element of the game. In fact, Voter told me, he said, that's the part of the game in the stadium that has gotten the most reaction.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a huge home run or something. It's like everybody gets so fired up when a call gets overturned. You know, the home team is challenging and a call gets overturned, and they're like, this is great.
Today's episode is sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip, so why not make the most of it? 4,000 Best Western hotels worldwide. They're there for every detour, destination, and unexpected turn along the way. A great stay isn't just about where you sleep. It's where the journey takes you next. And if you stay 3 nights at a Best Western, you'll receive a $50 gift card to use your next stay. Best Western gets it. Traveling is not one size fits all. So whether you're looking for a great adventure, looking to unwind, make some memories with friends and family, Best Western will help you achieve your travel goals. And whether you're going solo with the whole crew, Best Western has you covered on every front. Pack your bag, queue up the playlist, and book more of what matters most. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. Yeah, the CB Bucknor scene was a little tough because that's our society going too far. That's a classic case of, you know, I like when the right call gets made and it gets overturned. It's been probably the best part of ABS is it stopped. There's no argument. Like, there's very little times in our society right now that everyone's like, hey, we just agree on this. This is good to go. That when they do the ABS call, and if it just nicks that zone or if it just misses, everyone's like, all right, these are the rules now. Let's roll with it. Bucknor got close to taunting an old man, which I don't support. But it's also, it is what it is, man. And right now he's currently the leader in the clubhouse of having the toughest 2026 season.
Well, let's see here. You had 8 calls challenged, 6 were overturned in your time behind home plate. Then last night in Milwaukee, the Jake Bauers play, I have no idea what the hell happened. If you listen to the Brewers call on TV, For people that don't know what happened, there was an errant throw by Tampa Bay. Bowers, reaches on an error. And they go back, and Bucknor says he missed first base. Now, if you see that we're showing the play, you can see it clearly. He didn't even come close. He almost hit the center of the bag with his foot.
Yes.
So Milwaukee had to challenge, and it got overturned quickly. And you could see CB like, oh my God, what was I doing here? The announcers said he wasn't even looking at the bag. Like, how can you make that egregious a call? The best part of this video are the two manager shots afterward of Kevin Cash and Pat Murphy looking and smirking at one another like, can you believe that he fucking missed that? It is, Robbie, let this play out if this full clip goes after CB is he wanted no here it is. Watch Cash and Murphy. How great is that?
Just a couple old dogs just laughing it up first week of the season. This game was a lot of fun, by the way. Bowers and Sanchez, the Brewers just are relentless. And yeah, I guess the other evolution, because every team currently has a different philosophy. Like we've seen right now, the late innings, the top 4 innings in challenge pitches are 6, 7, 9, 8th. That, I expect to see that continue as if you're talking count leverage, you got to talk game leverage as well.
Right.
And then I think the part that's really interesting, and I don't know if my guy, the Jombino's got his fingers on this one yet, but the pitch types, 40 for 60 on 4-seam fastballs, which, okay, that kind of makes sense, right? That's the straightest of the pitches. 2-seam fastballs, 11 for 33.
A lot of movement on those bad boys.
Sliders, 11 for 25. So changeups, on the other hand, 9 for 14. So it's going to be very interesting as those stats start to develop. For me, I start to get worried the more you put in players' heads, the more you have to think, and that I try to keep it simple, stupid, where it's like, hey, if it's a ball that gets called a strike, I'll let you have it. But when you have guys playing with emotions and you have guys playing for their contracts and you have, I don't know, just that little thought of maybe, you're right, you can end up putting your team in a bad position. I guess I want to see more of it because, again, my Yankees have been pretty good at it so far this year, that they haven't been penalized. Like I think the Red Sox yesterday after the 5th inning were out of challenges or one of the games I was watching. So like that's when things are going to get really interesting, and that's when we're going to have our manager blow up. But I don't know. I haven't felt that part of it yet.
No, that part's true. Plus it's so new, right? We're just a week into this thing. So we're all kind of still settling into how to use it, what it means, when to use it. So for me, there's 2 interesting aspects. You brought up one of them, which is overloading the baseball brain. Okay. There are some guys who love it and are fully equipped. There are other guys whose heads will literally explode as they're walking to home.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem. The other side of this, because I always wanted to delve into sports psychology, is what is this doing to our umpires?
Yeah, man.
Right. We already have a negative thought about umpires and referees. Like, you're always trying to screw us. We very rarely walk away from a game and was like, boy, that was a well umpired game. Yeah. Very clean. Well, excellent officiating. I loved every bit of it. No, we're all bitching about some sort of call that was made. Even if the umpire was great behind home plate, there's always one or two like, oh, you got nailed on that one. Well, now these guys are on pins and needles back there. And I actually texted with an umpire recently. And I said, how did it go behind the home plate? He said, well, I got overturned on 3 or 4. And I said, listen, man, I know you don't want to hear this, but I actually think it's going to show eventually how good you guys are.
Yeah.
Really. As long as we as fans have some perspective here, our favorite quarterbacks don't go 22 of 22 through the first 3 quarters. They misfire. So they are, even the best in the world are inaccurate at some point. So we have to understand that the umpires are going to miss a certain number of calls. As long as they embrace that, hey, it's okay to miss it. I didn't like what the Yankees did the other night. Like when Estabrook was screwing it up, and they're like, hey, you got to change your zone. Well, or you could keep challenging and winning.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can only start bitching once you lose all your challenges. That's what I would say. No words from the dugout until you lose all your challenges. Then we can get back to complaining, unless it's a check swing or something that you can't challenge.
And there have been less words from the dugout. That's been a surprising a wrinkle that I've enjoyed, because normally I don't know I think if I think about myself watching a normal baseball game and I see the dugout, or I love a starting pitcher on an off day who starts barking a little bit. Mm-hmm. In my head, I enjoy that. Haven't missed it. I haven't been watching the game sitting on the couch and being like, oh God, I wish we got that cut scene of Andrew Abbott pissy in the dugout. Like I haven't missed that at all. I haven't missed the complaining in general. Like I just, there hasn't been a ton of it. And yeah, the fact that it is, for me and how my brain processes things, the thought that, okay, everyone kind of likes this. We're getting calls right. I don't know. I'd never thought I was a fully automated strike zone guy, but it definitely has me questioning it. Or my earliest one would be go to 3 challenges, just because I do think teams are just being a little gun shy. I think they're just a little, that I want, I know you mentioned that Murderer's Row in the Guardians lineup, that I would love if, I don't want Brian Rocchio being horrified that if an umpire misses a call by half a foot, if he's horrified to hit his head, where he has an opportunity to get a 2-0 count, where Brian Rocchio might be able to drive a ball and change his season stats.
There's a guy who doesn't watch enough Guardians baseball. Right there.
How
I understand what you're saying. Have you come across anybody who doesn't like the system as a fan?
Ooh, interesting.
Maybe the implementation, like how it's being used, I can understand that. But is there anybody who's like, God, I wish they would just go back to what we had last year? Because I haven't.
No, I mean, we interviewed Booney yesterday, and he was kind of against it, and he's still not in love with it, which is ironic. And we were kind of trying to unpack that, because it's I don't know. I made
that sounds like a therapy issue.
It was, and I went, as you know, Chris Rose, I go deep. That I was talking the Boons being a historic baseball franchise, that umpires have kind of been with them throughout the journey of baseball. That maybe there's something about that, but no, I haven't heard anyone. I guess the complaint is people want more, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Rosie, I do want to, I don't know if you want to put a minute 30 or 2 minutes on the clock. If you want to give us some guards, and I don't know if this leads into some Chase DeLauder talk, but what are you seeing from your guard dogs this year?
Listen, man.
Oh, no, don't start with that.
I love my team. I sat through, for people that don't know, I sat through the 80s, which was a horrific Indians decade of baseball. Just pathetic. The first 23 years of my life, this team finished no higher than 4th in their division. Now, a few things you got to keep in mind. They were part of the then American League East that had 7 teams, but still they couldn't even fall into a 3rd place finish one year. The first 23 years of my life, that's almost a quarter century where they were out of it every season.
I mean, just to chime in a little bit, because I caught 3 months of the 80s, but they made a famous baseball movie about
yes, they did.
A bad baseball franchise that happened to be your franchise.
It came out my senior year in high school.
Oh, man. Is that your favorite movie ever then?
It's one of them. I mean, when it's still on TV, if I'm flipping through and it's on, I will definitely watch it, curl up and watch it.
Nice.
Yes, so it came out right around this time. It was like toward the end of spring training, beginning of the baseball season. And we go to the theater, and in Cleveland, as I mentioned, we never sniffed the playoffs. It was like going to a playoff game, I imagine. The people were standing and cheering, and when Jake Taylor squares around a bunt, to drive in the winning run against your hated Yankees, the place went nuts. I'm telling you, it was freaky. We are We were such losers back then. This is all we had to cheer for was a fucking movie, not the real thing. Then we all walked to our cars, and there was like 18 inches of snow on the ground. We were like, yeah,
welcome to Cleveland.
Hollywood. Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm going to go buy my my Corbin Burnson jersey now.
Nice.
Go get him, Roger Dorn.
Dorn. Okay, so that was talking Guardians.
Yeah, that was it. Basically, a lot of young guys. If Bazzana's not up here by the middle to end of May, people will have a riot.
Okay.
That's the one thing to look out for.
Who's the Guardians pitcher that we're gonna look up at June 1st and be like, oh, okay, so they've done this again?
Well, it was kind of Gavin Williams the second
Right.
half of last year. There's a lot of people that are running hot on Joey Cantillo. I mean, I think Parker Messick, you saw it the other night. He must throw an invisible because he throws like 92. He was hitting a little hotter the other night against the Dodgers, but 6 shutout innings, no walks against them on Monday night. He's a guy who I watched I think he made 7 starts last year. I was like, okay, this guy's got something. He doesn't throw 98. He looks like he walked out of the cornfield.
Nice.
In Field of Dreams.
Like that.
Real high socks, like big ass, country boy. So he's the guy that I think you could probably keep your eye on this year. Okay.
I like that. I guess who else of the young dudes? Because it's been the story. And Chris, I gave a weird sports speech because I think you'll agree with this. I consume a ton of sports, football, NBA, college basketball, all of it. That I always laugh when they cut to one of those desk show that I would say 80% of the time, one of the sign-off lines is like, look at the young talent in this league. The future of the NFL is in great hands. And you could do that. NBA, you do that with any sport. That I think it's a little corny because you're obviously listening to people that love the sport. So I try to call myself out. But after the opening weekend where the most home runs by rookies on opening weekend, the highest OPS since 1900, the slug highest since 1900. What went on the year 1900 on the nose? What was that season like? That they're the story of opening weekend. So I guess who are a guy or guys, because DeLauder stole the headlines, Rosie, but there's a ton of guys crushing it.
Yeah. By the way, DeLauder fouled the ball off his foot in his first at bat last night. And for people that have followed him, it's been injuries that kept him from getting up here quicker, including a broken foot. So he left the game. He finished the at bat, tried to limp to first on a ground ball. Josh and I looked at each other. He wanted to cry. He wanted to cry. So DeLauder to me has taken a back seat, to be honest with you, to another guy that plays his home games in the state of Ohio, Sal Stewart. I am a huge fan of his. We got a little taste of it last year, limited time, but it's a few things. First of all, the way he attacks the baseball and can go, to right center as easily as he can left center, which is really, really impressive. He hit another homer yesterday. He's already got 9 hits. He's got 18 total bases. There's only one other Red that has even double digits in terms of total bases, and that's Ellie De La Cruz. But I want to go a little bit more big picture here. We know that the Reds have had some left-handed hitting pop over the years and guys that can really swing it, right? Joey Votto, who retired a few years ago. By the way, I cannot wait to hear him on national TV with NBC. I think he's going to be awesome. The big donkey, Adam Dunn was a guy who would hit it out of the stadium.
Jay Bruce.
Jay Bruce is another one. Those are all guys that were drafted and developed by the Cincinnati Reds. So it got me thinking, what happened to the right-handed pop? Because this is what they were looking for in the offseason. It's one of the reasons they brought back Eugenio Suarez. This is the guy we're going to be talking about at the end of the season that is really, I think, one of the best hitters in baseball. Not just as help maybe elevate the Cincinnati Reds, but one of the young guys who's you're going to say, man, I wish we had Sal Stewart for a number of reasons. Listen to the 4 guys that the Reds, 4 right-handed hitters that the Reds have drafted that have hit at least 30 homers in their uniform.
Oh, boy.
Johnny Bench.
Okay.
Barry Larkin.
Yeah.
Eric Davis.
Sure.
And Todd Frazier's the most recent one. Now, you've got 2 Hall of Famers, a guy who was, in my opinion, on a Hall of Fame trajectory if he had stayed healthy, and Eric Davis. He was really probably one of the 5 most talented players I've ever seen in my lifetime. And Todd Frazier, who was an all-star home run derby champ, had great pop. We all know him. We love him. That's a pretty damn good group. This guy is going to join them. And I love if you listen to his post-game interviews, did you listen to him the other day when Eugenio Suarez had a big at bat? Might have been opening day when they lost to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Wasn't successful. And Sal Stewart was at his locker and he goes, that's the guy I want up in a key situation. This is a 22-year-old.
Yes.
He wasn't like, yeah, we had our chances, like all the generic bullshit. He's like, that's the guy I want up with the game on the line. And what happens a couple days later? Suarez hits a late inning home run to give them the lead and eventually the win. And I was like, oh my God. On top of being a really good baseball player, he knows what he's talking about. And he said the same thing last night after they lost. The only thing I can't get past are his caterpillar eyebrows. He's got to call Nelson Cruz or something to get those things trimmed down.
That's where I have to fight back on you, Rosie. I think
I
think the caterpillar eyebrows go well with his mustache when he has it. I think that pairs perfectly. I'll start with the ridiculous analytics because I'm pivoting off of your eyebrows. Sal Stewart's an amazing baseball name. And by the way, it plays in Cincinnati. It plays with 6'1", 224 as he's listed. And the fella can hit, Rosie. Like I like, as we talk baseball through the long off season, sometimes we find ourselves talking in circles that it's, that guy looks like that guy's hitterish. I mean, McGonigal came up and the scouting report he looks hitterish. Like if you've just watched baseball, you're like, yeah, if you put something in the zone to that little fucker, shout out Dusty Baker, McGonigal's going to do something to it, and it's probably going to be productive because that kid looks so good. I eliminated him from this exercise. Like, I think if you're out on McGonigal, I got nothing for you. Stewart, and Dalton was asking, he was like, hey, Jake, who, for you and Rosie doing this exercise, who would you pick? Mine was Sal Stewart. So I have another one I planned, but man, I think he turned 22 in December. Trevor used to have a theory about Cuban ball players that he was like, if I had a front office gig, I would bring in as many Cuban ball players as I could because those guys are just dogs. Well, America kind of has a version of that in Miami, and Miami ball players, man. Like, give me Zach Neto and Sal Stewart on a baseball team, and we will figure it out. They have a certain level of swag to them. There's a certain level of baseball that just feels natural in him that, yeah, man, he's got some power, but it feels like he's just trying to hit. And I know that might sound dumb to some people. And the other thing that if you look at pretty much any great hitter in this league, we're going with 5 games of stats, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts. Sal's seeing the ball pretty well.
Sign me up, man. Sign me up. I'm in. I'm a huge fan of his. Did we ever get a picture, Robbie, of the Sal Stewart eyebrows? Can we slide that in or not?
And if Matt,
that's like U.S. Open rough right there.
You hit Bobby Golf's chord there. Yeah, I mean, I think I would be considered part of the thick eyebrow gang, so maybe that's where I'm getting a little defensive here. I mean, if we could get a zoom in shot, my eyes when they get in the sun. Okay, we'll work on something after this.
We'll get a Story Ollie shot.
Let's go, Matt. Let's go, Matt McClain. Like, let's go, Cincinnati. Cincinnati Reds should have an offense, and all we've talked about for a year and a half is how talented their pitchers are. Like, if something can click here, and it should, and that's why they've been a little bit of a frustrating team for the past couple years. I'm gonna. I told you I love the pick. He was going to be my pick. Well, the oldest trick in the game, Rosie, is I'm going to take a combo because Dalt had Justin Crawford on the sheet, which I was like, oh, yeah, Justin Crawford, I don't know. Speed, we love baseball lineage. Is Dombrowski learning from his lessons, although he's already paid a ton of guys that these young guys are going to fit in? So I was going to go Justin Crawford, and then last night I think a stronger pick might have prevailed themselves. Andrew Painter, who, if I'm going to start off where I started with Sal Stewart, if you're looking for a baseball name for a pitcher, Andrew Painter, I think this one might work out. And for how often we use the term like hitterish or guy looks like a ball player, has anyone looked more like out of a pitching lab than Andrew Painter? 6'7", a little long, almost that no emotion that you kind of need to be a logical pitcher during an illogical game. Andrew Painter looked phenomenal last night, got up 98 miles per hour, featured 3 pitches, threw 5 pitches, and this guy, his name has been mentioned with all the top pitching prospects for years now. And yeah, I guess, Justin Crawford's off to a fine start. He's 4 for 12, legged out an infield single for his first hit, which that has to be the most common first hit. I just feel like there's so many guys that get to the show and you feel them really craving that first hit and running it out. That I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the full year of Justin Crawford, like if I had to bet on either of these guys, give me Painter for the full year just because with that kind of profile from a pitching prospect. But I don't know, man. In a way, the Phillies, they wanted Bichette, and we saw that whole thing play out. Mm-hmm. They were in on these two dudes being a part of this Phillies team that we're talking about. We're looking at the main guys becoming 32, 33, with Schwarber and Harper and Turner. These guys were going to be a part of this team, and they've looked the part so far.
It's interesting because you bring up Painter. One of the questions we're asking on today's edition of Baseball Today, go check that out. Plouffe, for some reason, want to do that show, not this one. I don't know.
What's that
Maybe you guys can huddle up on.
What was that?
Don't know. Don't know. I'm just reporting facts.
Yeah, locker room. Well, we're going to have to figure that out behind the scenes.
I mean, we're not even a full week in yet, and we're already fractured on the side of the
I know baseball's back, but Wednesday, why don't you guys reach out to Papa Rosie? All right, Trev.
Anyway, we're going to ask the question, is Philly going to be known more for its rotation than its lineup? Which I don't think as they were putting together that monster lineup, you went, boy, let's focus on the pitching. But I think that's what we're going to end up talking about a lot this year. We'll see. Yeah, Painter was great last night. I hope he had the over on mom shots.
Yeah.
By the way.
Careful with mom shots.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. First of all, that is my neighborhood, so you could keep it going as far as I know. I'm like, well, my demographic.
Because you joked about it. We had a little group chat going last night. Did you check the age?
Well, I didn't know exactly how to do that without being a total creeper.
No, that's fair.
When you start hopping on social media and things like that, you could accidentally hit a like button or follow, and then it just isn't worth it.
Yes.
Just isn't worth it at all.
Yes.
So I was curious.
I mean, Andrew Painter is younger than one of your sons? Yes.
Yeah, how old is he? 23?
I think he just turned 23. 22.
He's 22. Yeah, no, he's right in between Josh and Brady.
Crazy.
Yeah, so she's younger than I am. I'll play that game. She's definitely younger.
Okay. That's our analytics. Justin Crawford also 22, by the way, which is that's insane. No, I think your Baseball Today question's kind of easy, Rosie, because if Taijuan Walker gets subbed out for Zach Wheeler, and I'm looking at Sanchez, Nola, Luzardo, Wheeler, Painter.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
It's no contest, man, and it's for Phillies.
We will still focus on the Philly offense because that's really what has kept them from getting back to the World Series. Has been their postseason approach at the plate.
Well, I'll tell you what. Depending how at rose color lenses you look through this new segment. New social media segment.
Chris Rose.
Oh. Hey man, you get Trey Turner, Schwarber, Harper. Baseball fans aren't going to argue with you. Maybe Dombrowski with Harper at the end. Bohm, Stott, Adolis, Garcia. Like that's not.
Nope.
Not where we were at with the
Nope.
Phillies lineup. Adolis Garcia does have a moment yesterday where he makes that Philly ballpark look small. Looks like he fouls a pitch off and it leaves the stadium. So, again, could we talk about El Bombi a little different in a couple months? I hope so, because, my God, that postseason was one of the most incredible things we've ever seen. But that's 3 years ago.
I know.
So, I think the answer is easy. And before the season, when I was talking myself in or out on the Phillies, and I was, because last year the Braves, like, we came into the season with the Braves being a top 3 team. So you're trying to look around and be like, a lot can happen in a baseball season. I was wondering if the Phillies could be that team. When I looked at the pitching, including the bullpen, I was like, no, I think they have enough here. I think they sneaky have one of the best bullpens in baseball. I think those starters can go toe-to-toe with anyone. And that's before you get to the lineup that was supposed to be what this Philly team was built around, that they're going to be there. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Financial stress can impact a lot more than just our bank accounts. It can take a serious toll on mental health and relationships, with 88% of Americans feeling some form of financial stress at the start of 2026. Money worries can bring about anxiety, sleep disruption, and are one of the leading sources of conflict for couples. Therapy can help manage financial stress and build healthier coping strategies. Finding time for therapy can be a challenge, but BetterHelp is all online, making it easy to schedule and attend your weekly sessions. BetterHelp does the matching work for you so you can focus on your goals. But if you aren't happy with your match, you can switch to a different therapist at any time. It actually works too. An average rating of 4.9 out of 5 stars based on over 1.7 million client reviews. When life feels overwhelming, therapy can help. Sign up. Get 10% off with BetterHelp.com/talkinbaseball. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/talkinbaseball. I guess, Rosie, that a natural little segue there. I want to zoom out to the teams a little bit. Are there, and it's so dumb. It's so dumb to be 5 games in and to have your opinions change on a team is just ridiculous. So I'll preface that exercise by saying let's do it. Is there a team, I guess good or bad, that you watch these first couple games and as we talked a lot this offseason, a lot of offseason baseball talk, that you can convince yourself into anything? Is there one team that I guess you're doing a head tilt or has changed your view of them?
Yes. Okay. In terms of watchability.
Okay.
I thought that the Cardinals were going to be horrific to watch this year. Okay. Now, I still do not trust this rotation. It just, there's way too many question marks, I think. What they're trying to do, what Chaim is trying to do, is find the tent poles of his organization so that as he has ripped off the Band-Aid and gotten rid of these expensive players by just throwing more money at them to leave St. Louis, he's trying to find the next generation that he can pair with Weatherholt and Burleson, who, by the way, Alec Burleson is a guy that we never mention.
No.
But that is a good baseball player who has continuously gotten better. Like, I loved that home run that he hit the other day against Tampa Bay, where he just stood there and looked into his dugout and gave it the flex. He's been a good ball player.
His biggest problem was the Cardinals felt like they had a player generator for a little bit between him, Donovan, who am I missing? Nolan Gorman. You were just like, okay, these kind of powerful, meaty lefties that all play different positions a little bit. That
Carlson
hurt.
Was another one that was in that group.
That hurt like all of those guys, which is ridiculous, but go on.
Yeah, so for a while I was like, the city of St. Louis has been treated to so much good baseball over the last several decades. And I went in the offseason. I remember I said, when was the last time they lost like 95 games in a year? Because that could really happen with the way that the NL Central, I thought, had improved, right? The Pirates had actually poured some money into their offense to pair with that pitching staff. The Cubs, awesome. The Brewers led the league in regular season wins a year ago, and we think that the Reds with that pitching staff should be good. So we were like, boy, the Cardinals are going to be a distant fifth in this division. By the way, they still might finish last, but I think that 95 losses is out of play. And I think you have to go back like maybe 100 years or something to see that in the Cardinals ledger. Like, they didn't have one season. I remember earlier in the show I talked about how the Indians never finished higher than fourth. Well, the Cardinals were never shitting down their leg for a whole season where the Cardinals fans had to get excited for something else. Here, they're more watchable. They're a more watchable team. And Weatherholt that dude's a baller, man.
Yeah.
He's another one of those guys from that 2024 draft class where you're like, that's going to be a fun one to follow.
I love the choice, Rosie, because when we do our team profile and projections, we do some over-unders. We do an episode before the season where we, try to lock in some picks. For me, it wasn't the sexiest pick, which, kind of where I live. The Cardinals over, I think it was 69.5, which you talked about this franchise's history. They don't dip below that a lot. And I know this is a little Jake-alytics again, but dude, putting Weatherholt on the team, that matters.
Yes, it does.
We're looking at, Connor Griffin watch. You're talking about Travis Bazzana watch. Although I know you gave your sad Guardian speech, that stat that they have the third highest winning percentage over the last decade is insane.
Well, behind only the Dodgers and your Yankees. That's
insane.
What's crazy. Yep.
That's insane. That they unfortunately aren't in the conversation. As I looked at this roster, I was like, okay, so we're going to give the kid a look, which Weatherholt's supposed to be in that McGonigal Griffin territory. I don't know how it's going to sort out, but a real ball player. A lot of people really like Ivan Herrera. As you go up and down, you meant Burleson, but I guess the game I started to play was are these guys a major leaguer? And Mason Wynn, I don't know how it sorts out. That dude's a major leaguer. He could be a high-end major leaguer. His double play throw last night, that's freak show stuff. You're right. We just came too far down. Jordan Walker, I know, it was pretty clunky, but this guy had the prospect profile. The young guys that we're hyping up right now, didn't Jordan Walker have a nuts first game? And we're like, all right, this is when we still respected who the St. Louis Cardinals were. We're like, look at Jordan Walker's the next Dave Winfield.
That's that's exactly the guy I was thinking about in my head. I was like, my God, enormous outfielder.
Are we finishing each other's sandwiches?
Sentences?
Oh. Could Jordan Walker be the kind of post? He's 23.
I know.
We just get into this weird spot with sports. As I looked at this roster, you're right. The pitching's scary. Although it's kind of what can you give me a 7th, 8th, 9th inning in JoJo Romero, Riley O'Brien, Stanek? I know Svanson's gotten hit around early on, but I don't know. I guess I was getting frustrated as there was actual Pirates hype this year that I wasn't bought into. I realize the dogs they have in their rotation, but organizationally, I didn't see too much difference. I hope I'm wrong. Again, Pittsburgh, I want it to work up there, but as we went team by team, I didn't see a crazy. The Cardinals could have a better season than the Pirates, and I feel like 2 weeks ago that sounded sinful to say, and there's a lot of baseball to go, but they have a baseball team. This isn't when we've looked around at a couple of those teams the past couple of years that you're like, oh my God, what are the White Sox rolling out this year? They were nowhere near that. Nowhere near that.
Can I give you, by the way, the 2024 first round draft picks?
I need you to.
Okay. So Bazzana went 1. Chase Burns, who's up, went 2 and just got his first show win. Congratulations. Charlie Condon, who had some injuries in the Rockies minor league system, but had a good spring. Kind of stopped paying attention to the Rockies after about March 3rd, but you understand what I'm saying. Nick Kurtz, heard he had a nice year last year.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about Hagen Smith. Jack Caglione. J.J. Weatherholt. Christian Moore, who kind of has shot through the system with the Angels. Connor Griffin at 9. And then Seaver King, who I don't know much about. 10th to the Nationals. But the other names that you're familiar with, or certainly are about to be, Braden Montgomery, James Tibbs, who's been traded a couple of times in the Devers and the Dustin May deal and is now raking for the Dodgers AAA affiliate, Cam Smith, Carson Benj, Trey Savage.
Wow.
I mean, look at all the guys who have already not just appeared, but massively contributed at this level. It never was that way.
Yeah.
You don't even have to, I don't have to say even when I was growing up. When you were growing up,
Correct.
guys were never here within a year and a half of their draft date. Ever. And now these guys are not just participants. They're like centerpieces in some cases.
Yeah, I started doing a little spin, trying to process this with all the young talent. And like I said, I tried to be as fair as possible because every sport, look at our young talent. That I was like, no, this feels a little different. I think at its core, it has to do with velo is everywhere now. That I think going back to 2006, there'd be some guys that would make it to the big leagues and just be horrified by starting pitching. I think you could probably go further than that. You could probably go like 2014, 2015. Maybe you can even go more recent. I think these guys at some point went to a camp where they saw some 17-year-old throwing 100.
Absolutely.
And then they went to the cage and they hit off 100. I don't know. I think I'm excited for this next generation of hitters that if you're throwing 93, 94 up there, just watch your head.
Well, I can just tell you this. So Brady's a sophomore in college, played 4 years of high school baseball. We were in the same league as Sierra Canyon. For people that are familiar with that out of Los Angeles, it's better known as a basketball school, but it has become a baseball factory to some degree as well. They had 3 kids on their team that threw at least 93, including one guy who threw 99. I mean,
yeah.
Go back and just throw on on YouTube, throw on an old baseball game from the late 80s, early 90s. You won't find relievers. Maybe every team had a reliever that did that.
Maybe.
Not 3. I can tell you that.
If someone came out of the bullpen and was throwing like Armando Benitez was throwing 97, and you were like, "Holy, everyone!" Like it was kind of sit down on the couch and don't talk to me. Like I got to see what this looks like. Now it's insane. I have something. This is borderline rude. Ryan Weathers made his Yankee debut the other night. Look, speaking of velo and arm talent, there's a lefty that throws 98, and we'll see how the Yanks can tap into him. Although my Yanks are throwing the pill right now at a historic rate. Tied for best 5 games to start a baseball season, so watch out. They showed some highlights of his father, David Weathers. Stormy Weathers, who I'd remember the name. He was on a couple of those Yankees teams. Pitched from 91 to 09.
Yes, no joke.
I did not have that in my book. Rosie, they showed some of his highlights, and it looked like a different sport.
It was a different sport, and he was a guy who had a dad bod before he was a dad.
Yes.
So that was kind of the beauty of the sport back then. You know, it's not like these days everybody's freaking fit, looks like an animal. You're right. It looks like everything about it looks like a different sport. The tempo of it. Here he is.
I mean, again, this is that highlight shot. Rob, replay that.
Like to challenge
replay.
That swing.
I mean, that's Javi Lopez. It's 2 strikes, but that's a very different strike zone, I think, affected that at bat. But that is not the wipeout slider we've been watching in today's baseball.
No, that's the wipe your ass slider. That's how bad it was.
And that's 1996. And I guess I want this to end in a complimentary way. Throwing that in 1996, he stayed in the league till 2009 and was effective.
Yes.
And was effective, and now his son's in the league. So I'm not trying to throw shots fired at all. But they showed that like as the mid game, and his dad pitched in the league. Coney's talking about playing with him, and I was like, wow, it is a completely different sport, and that's why, again, if I wanted to build on this theory a little bit, I think we saw some guys in those late 20 teens, early 2020s that the velo was their problem and the velo caught up, that it kind of shortened their career, where I think you kind of just have to be ready for it. Like if you're 1920, a top baseball prospect, I don't think you can be a prospect and it's like, well, yeah, he struggles with 94. No, like I don't think that's in the cards. Although wasn't Murakami supposed to struggle with velo? It doesn't seem.
Yeah, I mean that supposedly that was the word on it. Now when he hits the ball, it goes far. Ball go far. It does. It goes way far, and I'm excited to see what he does, and I'm going to be more interested to see how many contenders are kicking their own asses for not signing him.
Yes, and I don't know. I'm very much rooting for him because I just want to get to a point where it's like, hey, if you're good over there, I think you're going to be good over here. And we've kind of been there. He's like the final test. From breaking the home run record, I know he took a step back and there were velo questions, but like again, it's 5 days in scouting. Looks like a ball player. Like there was some body type concerns. Like looks pretty good in the uni.
Right.
I'm not concerned about that. He made a couple nice plays at first.
I'm not entering him in the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio. Just go mash the ball.
There was Okamoto, same thing. Like that dude's off to a gangbuster start,
and he's actually made a bunch of plays over at third base too.
And another, Rosie, I actually get frustrated because that was part of his scouting report. Like, not sure where he's going to settle in. And then we looked it up, and I think he was a 2-time Gold Glove third base guy over there. And then we watched a couple highlights, and it was kind of, I'm not a scout, but it seems like it's working for him.
So hold on. Are you saying that we overthought something in baseball?
No. That's not.
Stop that.
That's not us. That's
seriously. If we took 8 guys and ladies from the Jomboy Media offices,
sure,
and started to run a team,
okay,
how would we do in terms of talent evaluation?
Interesting.
Trev would want to be the manager. I'm not so sure I'd want him to be the manager, but he'd want to be the manager.
That's too much work. He'd want to be a special advisor or like the third hitting coach.
Okay.
Yeah. Again,
how would we do?
I would like to think we would need a pitching guru. So like we don't have an actual nerd. Like I do believe the pitching analytics, you need a nerd. Like look around the teams around the league. There are certain teams that if a guy comes to their organization, they're going to tap into them. That, if I'm allowed to bring in like a guest of Jomboy Media, if I could get an Eno Saris, I genuinely think we'd be able to compete. Like,
would you extend the 401k possibilities to Eno just to get him on staff?
Yeah, absolutely. I love Eno. He's so
now you're just giving shit away.
Yeah. I don't know. The company will be all right, right, Jim? Courtney.
Yeah, have to get approved by the board.
I don't.
Today on the docket.
Every now and then So yeah,
be our pitching guru for our fictitious team that we don't have.
Jake was running a little hot, and he gave Eno Saris a 401k for the Nashville Stars. I'd like to think it's not. We've gotten to meet some people in the sport. I know you met some people in the sport. There's very few that there's a couple nerdy guys that I've met, and I've been like, you operate on a different level, and I think it's good to have those guys as a part of your organization because I do not operate that way, and I think it's good to get some group thoughts for certain things. But no, man, it's a lot of them are, I don't want to say normal dudes, but people that put in work to get this opportunity to get to a place that's kind of any job.
Now, I want to say this because I know we have to move on because I have to get to a show eventually in a half hour. But I think the area where we would struggle to put together a good infrastructure, we don't have anybody to run infield or throw BP. I'm worried about that.
I think Trev could do that. If we could trick.
No, you need multiples.
Yeah, that's
who's throwing
true.
BP for us? You need like 5 people to throw batting practice.
I mean, first name that came came to mind, Jimmy Norp's dad, Barney Norp. If we can get
Barney.
him in the mix.
Great.
Actually, in the brief time I got to talk to him, he did say, I believe he shoulder, elbow, and something else gave out because he was throwing so much batting practice to Jimmy Norp's AAU team. And to simulate 80 miles per hour, which played in the Midwest AAU circuit, he was throwing from about 10 feet away, about full rip. I'm just happy Barney Norp got mentioned. I guess, Rosie, yeah, I mean, we got deep in the episode because we like talking ball. I guess if you have anything, we had two pure minor league players get big league contracts. Colt Emerson with the Mariners, who I shouldn't say he got the real one. 8 years, $95 million. That is the most for a player who has not played an inning of Major League Baseball. And then the Brewers, which that makes you do a little extra head tilt. They gave Cooper Pratt an 8-year, $50.75 million. So I mean, those of us that are in the game, we've seen a lot of these for the guys that haven't played Major League Baseball yet. Colt Keith, Jackson Churrillo, Luis Robert, Evan White, Eloy Jimenez, Scott Kingery, fighting to play on the Cubs. I love that. And a Talkin Baseball favorite, John Singleton. I mean, I would also count a lot of these guys, like Christian Campbell had 6 days. Samuel Basayo had 5 days. So there's Corbin Carroll's name comes up, Rafaela. Roman Anthony now has one of these that we've seen this around baseball, Rosie. It is a way to control the arbitration years and usually one or two of the non-arbitration years where you get them in their prime. I guess what is your reaction to these?
I love them. I love the gamble. I love the story side of it. For me, I want to start with Pratt.
Okay.
Because when a team like the Brewers, in the payroll situation they're in, this is an enormous risk.
Yeah.
And he is not the first thing you read on him when you go through his scouting report is the glove is ready. Now, that's not going to get fans super excited.
Yeah.
Even though it's a huge part of the game and can shoot your WAR right up the charts, if you are a really good fielding shortstop, and by the way, it can earn you a $180 million contract like Dansby Swanson. So to be able to get this guy for possibly $51 million over 6 years, if that's the way it ends up playing out. Sorry, it's 8 years over for $51 million. Sorry, I didn't want to shortchange him the years.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. And if he can grow into a 12 to 15 homer guy, even better. To me, the fascinating part of that is when you look at the Brewers' top prospects, and they've got 4 of the top 62, Pratt is the 4th one. And the thing that makes it super interesting, they're all presumed middle infielders, right? Jesus Maid is a top 5 prospect. Now, granted, he's only 18 years old, and he looks like he's about 12 if you've ever seen him interviewed. But he's a guy who's presumably going to be a big part of this. Luis Pena, Jet Williams, who just came over in the Peralta deal from New York. So the fact that they decided to give this guy the money made me go, okay, where are they going? Now, you're not going to give an 18 or a 19-year-old this sort of contract. This kid a little bit older. To me, it's just an interesting story to follow. Colt Emerson is a guy, I visited Mariners camp in the spring, and they were talking about him there. They were like, you just got to deal with it. I don't know if you saw this, but Dan Wilson was asked what it meant for J.P. Crawford, who's been banged up.
So I didn't see this. I did have a laugh on the broadcast because, baseball news comes, and this is where I want your thoughts because mostly for me, I'm like, hey, good job, dude. You just got a lot of money to play baseball. That's kind of my reaction to a lot of these. Michael Kay on the Yankees broadcast was like, how about a day for J.P. Crawford? Like, that's an interesting one.
Well, it's just something that they're going to have to get on the same page about because JP is now 31 years old. This is the last year of his contract. He's no dummy. He's been around this game. He knows exactly what this means for him, that he's living on borrowed time out there. I mean, would it even shock you if they're not hitting the ball the way that they expect to, that he gets moved on from during the year? If there's an injury somewhere around the league at shortstop, and you need a guy who's been there and done it. Wouldn't shock me.
No, it would be very interesting for a Seattle franchise that, last year it kind of happened. Like, they had the juice, they made the postseason, they were one of the best teams, they were a swing away from going to the World Series. That, I don't know, it would get interesting to me if, J.P. Crawford, who has been one of the more stable offensive shortstop options, if you move on and, you mentioned Nick Kurtz before. His first 3 weeks in the big leagues were pretty brutal, and then he was one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter in the league. But yeah, it'd be interesting for a Seattle team who has tried to change their year in, year out expectations. That, I don't know. I mean, the scouting report I heard was an infield Corbin Carroll. So if that's true, JP, have a good half of a season somewhere, go get yourself another bag, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, you're playing with a little bit of fire.
Can be
for this year.
But I love the idea. I hope that my Guardians do this with Travis Bazzana. I doubt that they will, but we'll see. I think there's probably a few other teams where there are guys already out there where Colt Keith got his money. You mentioned him, and McGonigal is a guy that will run circles around that dude. So if you're a Tigers fan, you're like, well, are we even trying with McGonigal? Like, wouldn't that make sense to go do?
It's one of those funny things where every situation is different, right? Like, were they getting offers in that area? Do they want to get the hell out of Dodge in 6 years and they already have themselves getting a $500 million contract? What's their family they came from that maybe securing $1 right now isn't a top priority? It's, yeah.
Well, to me, the most interesting aspect of the entire thing is, what does it mean for Connor Griffin and the Pittsburgh Pirates? To me, that's kind of where the discussion should start and finish, because he's the guy. We had the discussion at the end of spring training. We'd heard that they're conversing about a contract, but they're not really close. And for God's sakes, I think he just turned 20, didn't he? Right? Or is he still 19?
I had him mentally as 19. Let's see. 19 and 342 days. So April 24th. They'll call him up that day. That's Pirates baseball.
Well, on the day that he turns 20, my oldest brother turns 70. How's that? Bob Rose still waiting for the $100 million from the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I was debating. I didn't know if it was Pete Rose or not.
No.
Okay.
Pete turned 60 this year, though. So we got some milestone birthdays in the Rose household.
Happy birthday to your Pete Rose. Yeah, Connor Griffin. And the Pirates. I kind of sold on them this offseason and their opening weekend and what was going on in the outfield and all of it. It felt very Pirate-y. I hope it turns out to be wrong, and I hope Brandon Lau continues and O'Hearn. Like, those moves have looked good. But yeah, give me Connor Griffin in the show. I want to get excited about it. And I think I never followed up on this, but I think he would be the first 19-year-old American player since Harper.
Sure.
I think so. Dalton's given a semi-confident head nod, but...
So what, that was 2012, April of 2012?
Yeah. So, over a decade. Like, I want to get that level of excitement for Connor Griffin, but the Pirates have a comma, and the whole Bryce Harper thing is insane if we replayed all of that with him going to college early and being on magazines. That was like that's a whole different world, literally.
And has lived up to every second of it.
Right? Him and LeBron, man. Okay, people probably don't want the Harper LeBron comparison right now, but dude, it is one of the most impressive things.
Why wouldn't you want the Harper LeBron?
I don't know. That should be the opening. That's what the social team wants. That's not my sweet spot. That's what we finally got it. And I think LeBron's had a little better career than Harper if we're actually playing that game.
It's also way easier to affect the trajectory of an NBA franchise than it is baseball.
And we're like, people forget 6 years ago, Bryce Harper was kind of an injury-prone potential ball player, and that's gone away a little bit.
Yeah, that was some freak stuff.
Speaking of
By a
freak
pitch
stuff.
by Blake Snell.
Nice. Look at that reference. Freak stuff from Chris Rose, your host of Baseball Today, the voice of the warehouse at Jomboy Media. We got a big one coming up next weekend. It won't be out for a little longer, so I won't tease that. What else you got, Rosie?
I got some NFL stuff that's happening.
Yes.
You know, we got the draft coming up. For people that have been following along, NFL Network was just sold to Disney.
Wow.
So I'm officially a Disney employee as of today. In
Congrats.
fact, I gotta go. Yeah, well, I think we get like park tickets. So I think that's a good thing. You know, free set of Mickey ears, maybe.
That's nice.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll see how that all goes. Two other things, which is fun. Number one, American Gladiators is coming out on Amazon Prime 2 weeks from Friday. We just put out the promo. It's on my social media if you want to see it. It looks great, and it was a ton of fun to do.
Okay, I want to get in. Is it like a late night? Like, when should I be watching American Glad? Is it like, should I have an energy drink and get ready to fist fight someone, or should it be like
probably closer to that than anything?
Okay, so the Yankees have a hard loss. It's 10:30 p.m. I still need to let it out. Get my American Gladiator on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Robbie found the promo. Here we go.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's better with the sound. Robbie, can you get the sound or no? There's the Miz.
You and
another
the
Cleveland
Miz.
guy. Oh yeah.
Oh my
New
God.
theme song by Jelly Roll.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
Did we get a picture of you in the leotard or no?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the Gladiator bodies compared to the Rose body. Yeah, it's ready. So there's, for
awesome.
people that you're not old enough to have watched the original American Gladiator.
I caught some. I don't know if they were replays, but like American Gladiator was something on television that I consumed.
Yeah, so games like Joust and Atmosphere, those are back. There's some new games that are a ton of fun, including one that happens 100 feet into the air. It's pretty good stuff. So I'm super excited for that. I think they release, I'm not exactly sure how many episodes they release on the first night on April 17th, but first season is 10 episodes, I believe. So we ended up shooting 2 seasons worth. That's how they do it these days. But it's good. It's fun. For those of you that are fans of the Warehouse games, you might hear some familiar lines.
Yeah. Okay.
Like to see Jake get out there. You actually would be a fantastic competitor.
I mean, there's been rumors about doing something like this in the Warehouse.
Yes.
If for the next season of that, if they need someone.
There it is. There it is.
Wow.
I'm in the clip for 0.6 seconds. There, we have seen that expression before.
Sure have. Normally Story with a drive to center. I think you said you had one more thing, or was it?
Yeah, BattleBots is coming back.
Yeah. Wow. Is it the year of Chris Rose?
It's crazy. So it's going to be on YouTube, but
okay.
it's essentially, think of it as a tournament of champions. It's called the Pro League. It's the 24 best robots that we're getting together.
Yum.
And so we're shooting that over several weekends coming up in Las Vegas. You can go get tickets to them. April 17th, 24th, and May 1st, the weekends.
My nephews have become BattleBots fans. I mean, they literally they basically look at it as if Transformers, the movie, was real. Like, they're like, this is insane. I'll be checking that out with them. Gladiators after a Yankees loss. Baseball Today, basically every day, with part-time co-host Trevor Plouffe. That was real.
Oh, he's going to be there today. We're going to have to discuss why he chose that show over this one.
That's insane. I am very interested in that. Well, me and Matthew were going to go on the beach. Chris Rose, you're the best.
No, you're awesome. I always love coming on this show. It's nice to get a little different energy, to be honest with you.
Hey, man, if you need, I know I'm a busy guy, but if you need a body for one day, I know we might have a Dalton super sub this Friday coming up.
We're very excited. It's a spot start. Now he knows that he's still has options remaining.
Yeah.
And so that's he's the spot start, but that's how careers blossom.
Right. You make a day out of it.
Absolutely. He'll be ready.
That
He's been training for it.
If you need me, I can hop over there. Great seeing you, Chris Rose. You are the best. We love you.
Thank you for everybody for having me. I know that this is a sacred show. It is the #1 baseball podcast in the world, and I always appreciate being able to give the old man insights. So thank you.
We got some stormy weathers. Thanks, Rosie.
You got it, brother.
All right, before we get you guys out of here, it's time to look at some of the baseball markets presented by Fanatics Markets. The two we're going to look at. Little Colorado, Toronto. The Blue Jays are rolling. Me and Rosie got a little lost in the sauce. I was going to give Toronto a little apology because I don't know. It just felt like a lot of things went right last year. Feels like a lot of things are going right this year, and they're facing the Rocks, who are struggling out of the gate. Freeland going against that lineup and just that contact-inducing Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know. It's not looking too good for the Rocks. Currently get traded at 27%. So if you think Freeland's got something up his sleeve besides that Rocky Mountain tattoo, go check them out on the marketplace. And then the second game we're looking at today, Minnesota, miss you, Trev, against Kansas City. Hello, Vinny. This is our closest one today. Again, you're just trading against other people out there. It's got the Twins at 52%, KC at 49%. Noah Cameron making his debut this season against Joe Ryan, getting his second start. Here's the only thing I'll say. Kansas City, no one on the team has more than one homer. I think that's got to change today. We're about a week into the season. Go check it out. Fanatics Markets available now in app stores. Holy Toledo, how about a little Wednesday? Hey, how are you? Second opening day for us. We get our opening day midweek episode. Everyone go tweet at or comment on Insta at Chris Rose. He's the best. He loves it. He loves ball. And so do you if you're listening to this. We'll be back Friday. Friday recap. Another opening day, basically. I stink. Trev, come home. God, we miss you. It was me, Matthew, Jimmy, my friend Kyle, Jeff. I'm going.